And good morning from Canada's West Coast here at the Pacific Indoor Bowling Club in Vancouver, British Columbia, where we are here bright and early this morning to bring you live semifinal action from the men's competition here at the Canadian Indoor Qualifiers. I'm Bill Curry along with Shane O'Flaherty, and we've got a great feature match for you amongst the semifinals today featuring Mike McNorton from Kitchener, Ontario, up against Alan Wass of Vancouver, BC.
Yeah, I think we've got four great semi-finals that are going to be going on at the moment. In addition to our feature match, we've also got Pat Bird playing Michael O'Connor, so an Alberta, Saskatchewan battle there. Then across in the women's semis, it's excellent matches as well. There's a Alberta battle with Joanna Cooper taking on Jan Robinson. And the other semi-final, Lindering from BC is taking on Gillian McMurtry from Gillian's Manitoba, I think. Is that right?
That is correct, and it's quite a field here that we have left. Only eight bowlers left standing here after at the end of the week, and two of these bowlers, one from the men's side and one from the women's side, will earn the right to represent Canada at the 2026 World Indoor Championships.
Yeah, and I think that's, over the years, the Canadian presence at those championships has got stronger and stronger, and we've had sort of multiple medalists. So there's, a lot to live up to in terms of, achievements from past representatives.
Yep. And we will have full coverage for you today. This is the first of three matches we're bringing your way today, following this semifinal match at about 11 a.m. Pacific time this morning. That's about noon hour Eastern time. We will have live coverage of the women's final here from PIBC. And at 1 o'clock this afternoon, approximately, we will bring you coverage of the men's final. And between the two, we will determine who gets to make the trip to the World Championships. Bowlers right now are still in their trial ends, so they will play two sets of seven ends each. First bowler to win two sets or win and draw a set will win the match. And if the bowlers are tied at the end of two sets, they will move on to play a best of three set of extra ends.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to see in these matches, like judging from the matches we had yesterday and during the week, is overall the matches have been very tight here. And, as we're getting to this business end, all of these players have been playing superbly. So there's no doubt that I think we're going to see some top quality bowls, but I think we should see some really tight matches. I'm expecting at least some of these matches to go to tiebreakers.
That would not be a surprise, especially after what we saw yesterday here during the final rounds of the group stage, as well as all of the quarterfinals. Just tight matches all around. And I'll tell you, if you got some spare time and want to see some great bowls, it is very much worthwhile going into the archive of this tournament from yesterday and catching especially the group stage matches and the quarterfinals that we covered yesterday. Just excellent matches.
Yeah, we were really lucky with the matches that we had, like all, across the board, there were great matches. But yeah, I think we got particularly good matches on our streaming.
So Alan Wass, who had to battle through a quarterfinal in order to get to this stage today, is he had the extra match yesterday, and it's a tough road here. Mike McNorton, though, has certainly been impressive throughout this tournament.
Yeah, so Mike's the only player on the men's side who's gone unbeaten, and he's been superb. And the thing with Mike now is that he's still young, but he's got a ton of experience. He's been coming here for a number of years, and every time he's come here, he's looked better and better, and he's gone and proven himself on the world stage now. So, like, I think every reason for a lot of confidence for a defending champ from Ontario. But Alan is Mr. Accuracy. Like, he will pepper the jack all day, and he will make you work for every point you get. And so I think this is just going to be a superb match because both of these players are in great form.
And you know, Shane, we're used to seeing a lot of high caliber tournaments over the course of the year, especially out here in BC, where we have the luxury of having a beautiful indoor facility like PIBC. But throughout those, yeah, I it's been a long time though when you look at a semifinal field as what we have today and just see such world class quality from top to bottom.
Yeah, I think, Canada's getting stronger and stronger on the world scene. And I think, yeah, the one thing I've noticed over the 10 or so years that I've been bowling and coming along to PIBC to watch matches is that, with this tournament, you know, w- we're seeing the gap between it used to be a bit of a procession for BC bowlers, but now we're seeing more and more people coming back and getting more experience playing indoor here from the other provinces. And we have one BC player in the men's field left, and one BC player in the women's field left. And so it's great to see so many provinces with representatives here who are playing up to a really high standard.
Mike and Alan have finished their trial ends and are ready to get things underway. So it's a good time to refill your coffee and enjoy some really good bowls that we have coming your way for the next couple of hours. And McNorton will open the proceedings with the first jack, and Kim Sawyer will be our marker for this match today. She is from North Vancouver Lawn Bowling Club and also from PIBC as well. So, and quite an accomplished bowler in her own right.
So let's see if Mike can lay down the challenge straight away.
Mike is rolling the blue Taylor Aces today. While Alan Wass will be with his trusty green Henselite Tigers.
Yeah, those Henselite Tigers, Alan really sort of makes them sing. And you'll see with Alan, he always likes to get out nice and wide, and then he gets that big finish on these bowls.
And back bowls to open the first end. And lovely bowl from McNorton.
Yeah, so Alan will just be aiming to try and get in on top of that bowl or inside of it.
And this is a bit of what we can expect from these two throughout this match, I think. Not quite on the jack there. I'm sure both of them feel they can do just a hair better, but still a good start.
You sort of notice with Mike's delivery there, it's a very economic delivery. There's not anything wasted in that. Very repeatable. He's obviously been well coached through the Canadian system.
And Alan Moss's third bowl at the first end.
Alan always delivers and then looks very thoughtful afterwards.
Settles right here. Cameras indicate that McNorton probably is holding at this moment.
Mike will be looking to get another one in the head there. Ideally, if he could cover the jack.
It's going to run a little short and even well in front of even our camera position.
Alan just looking to make that little adjustment. It's coming in a little heavy. Hit it.
Oh, and that's beautiful from Alan Loss. And he's going to pick up a big end right off the top by the looks of things.
Yeah, everyone who plays singles in indoor in BC has had Alan do that to them at some stage, and he's converted that one down to three up.
So three right off the bat to start off the first set for Alan, and still a whole match left to be played here.
Yeah, Mike's been there, done that. He's, you know, it's a three on the first end. You just move on with the match. Just keep on playing your game.
Now, Alan, of course, had the quick turnaround on this match, playing all the way to about 6 o'clock p.m. last night to get through his quarterfinal. McNorton has had what many would consider the luxury of having the bye and being able to go home after his early afternoon game. So the 8:30 start is a bit of a challenge for these players.
I think, it's interesting and you see it in all of sports. Sometimes the player who gets the nice draw and gets the bye, and you earn that by winning your group, so it's well deserved. But sometimes, the player who's played through can actually end up with a bit of an advantage. But I think the differential sort of here is that there's the day in between, so both players should be coming into this refreshed.
Because after all, it is long bowls, not a half marathon.
Yeah, I took the opportunity to do this commentary in the abandoned half marathon I was supposed to be doing today, and I do not regret it at all.
Much better to be indoors today. Once again, much better to be indoors today because it is going to dump rain all day here in Vancouver, apparently. So,
Yeah, we love our atmospheric rivers here.
so better from McNorton, matching Alan Wass in the back there.
Yeah, that one kept running. I thought that was actually going to stop right behind the jack there, but then it just seemed to keep going. It's still in a good spot though.
And as we've seen also throughout these matches, it being able to jump out to a lead early on doesn't always last as players tend to find their distance and find their line and build that momentum as they get through the match. These matches have really been won by the players who really had the momentum at the end more so than the beginning.
Yeah, it's definitely not how you start, it's how you finish. And like my old rugby coach used to talk about the ebb and flow of psychic energy during a match. And you know, when you're behind, you just have to just concentrate on the end you're playing. Forget about what the scoreboard is. Just set your objective for that end and try and meet it.
Once again, long, but McNorton certainly owns the back there. And it's concerning enough that Alan Moss is going to come down and have a look.
Okay, while Alan's having a look, uh, I wonder what people out there think about the carrying your bowl down when you're going to the head. It's one of those ones where sort of I think people are sort of split 50-50 on it, whether you should or shouldn't carry your bowl down when you go to the head. I notice a lot of players like to do it. Like I live in fear of it if I ever did that, that I'd accidentally drop the bowl and would burn the head.
Well, Alan gave his final shot a lot of thought. Let's see what he comes up with. And that's, I think he likes his thinking process there.
Yeah, Alan's a deep thinker about the game. He's a great analyst of the game, and during a match, he's always considering every possible option that he has. A quick run around the other semi-finals. It is 1-0 across the board in the other three semi-finals. Gillian's leading Linda 1-0 after one end. Jan is leading Joanna 1-0. And actually, just to change now, Pat, they've completed the second end in Pat against Michael O'Connor. So Pat Bird is leading 3-0 after two ends.
Here's McNorton's final bowl and falls short. So Alan Moss will be picking up some more points here.
Yeah, it looks like it's probably two. I'm not sure if it's a measure for the third or not, but it's definitely looking like two.
And reaches for his measure. So we are going to have a quick look here.
Linda Ring's just gone up 2-1 in her semi-final against Gillian.
And even that front bowl is in play here for the measurement, which was pretty interesting. So they've come to a decision. We're going to have to wait till Kim Sawyer gets to the other end and puts the score up. But Alan Wass comes up with the second end as well, and jumped out to at least a 5-0 lead, maybe more.
Yeah, it's always good to take the lead, but yeah, I think just about every match I've seen here this week, there's been a fight back from the player who's been behind.
And Alan indeed picked up 3 on that one. So it is 6-0.
Joanna Cooper's tied up her semi-final with Jan. It's 1-1 after two ends.
Strong opening bowl.
Yeah, Alan just piling on the pressure now, but Mike's well equipped to handle this.
And that was looking better from Mike, but it looked to be on target and then just didn't quite bend at the end.
Yeah, each of the greens here has their own quirks, and you do sometimes sort of see that it doesn't fully finish just that little bit of extra weight meant that the finish came sort of later than Mike would have wanted.
This is looking better.
It's a very good bowl.
Beautiful bowl by McNorton.
And just to make it even better, it just falls over nicely. Yeah, so Michael will want to get something just to the side of this, just to cover the possibility of Alan dragging that jack. It looks like he's got a good line here if he gets around that front bowl.
Oh, just perfect. And that's a great response. That's two perfect draws there from Mike McNorton.
Yeah, I think Alan. I think he'll want to play not necessarily big weight, but just try and play on that shot. He's actually come the other hand, looking to follow Mike's bowls down, I guess.
Well, it's bending a little early here,
Yeah,
but you certainly knew what he was thinking on that one. Now, an opportunity for McNorton to cut the lead in half, possibly.
yeah, he went really close with that one, but it was just I'm not sure why he sort of decided to go the other hand. The That bowl of Mike's was just in front of Jack High. If you hit that and sit, you've probably got shot.
And this looks to be following Alan Wass's bowl, just a few meters short. And it is two for Mike McNorton, and he is on the board.
Yeah, so as we expected, like it's unlikely that somebody's going to sort of break away so easily in these semi-finals when you're playing players who are in top form. Mike now gets to determine the length and gets to throw that first bowl down and lay down the challenge to Alan now.
Slightly shorter jack, about 2 meters from the tee line.
Another match is Lindering is now 5-1 up against Gillian after three ends. Uh, Pat Bird continues his role against Michael O'Connor. He is up 4-0 after three ends. And it's 1-1 in the All Alberta semi-final between Jan and Joanna. Mike's first bowl's in a good position, but both of these guys have been drawing within that sort of distance, so we'd expect to see a few more in the head very soon. If you were playing pairs, your skip would have told you, well, we've got the
Yep,
tee covered.
exactly. Yeah, the classic lead bulls, two in the back and one on the jack. Ellen Moss cutting that distance. Looking from our broadcast position, it's mighty close. Kim Sawyer's going to have a look at this as well. I suspect it is very close, and we can't really tell from our angle precisely who's holding at the moment. And at the moment, neither can Kim Sawyer.
Yeah, it's always that problem when you're a marker. Like you might actually have an opinion, but if it's this close, you just have to say it's a measure.
Yeah.
I think that one makes it easier. That looks like
Yeah.
that one's definitely shot.
Yeah.
And a measure per
Definitely see
second.
that from our position. When he nudges McNorton's bowl just a hair towards the jack. I mean, it was holding to begin with, so no real damage done.
Yeah, I think like there's going to be options here for Alan on his final bowl, but Mike will be looking to just get another one closer and preferably just in behind.
You'd think that maybe he's interested in getting into this cluster here, or maybe even something up front to prevent the open draw where Wasp could get something in here.
Yeah, and that's Alan's kind of a shot is, trying to move that jack gently back.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen Allen be very aggressive, even in situations where you want to play it safe. Final ball from Mike McNorton. Around the outside. That's not a bad spot.
Yep, that'll help sort of cut it down if Alan happened to get onto the jack. And like a good sign of quality bowls here is that there's two bowls that are just ahead of jack high and everything else is behind the head there. There's nothing in the way here, so Alan coming in on the forehand.
It's looking, nudges McNorton's bull closer as well. So
It's
it is.
looking like a solid two there for Mike, so this is the kind of battle we're expecting to get. We've sort of gone 3-3 to Alan and then 2-2 to Mike.
And end by end, McNorton works his way back into this set. It is now 6-4 for Alan Moss.
Across on the other men's semi-final, Pat Bird is dominating at this stage. He is 6-0 up after four ends.
We've got four complete ends here. And once again, we're playing two sets of 7 ends.
Yeah, and it is important with these 17 sets. If you do get behind, you can't be behind for too long because you just run out of ends to make up those shots. So Mike's done a good job here in getting himself back in it. Crossing the women's semi-finals, a lovely shot there from Jan Robinson. She was probably two or three down, and she's just drawn. Um, sorry, from Joanna Cooper. She was probably two or three down there. It's picked up the shot. That'll take that match to 2-all. And across the other match, Lindering is leading Gillian McMurtry by 5-2 after four ends.
And we want to take a moment or two just to welcome the 50 or so of you who've woken up early here on the West Coast or are enjoying a leisurely morning wherever you happen to be across Canada or around the world and joining us for these semifinals today.
Yeah, I think no matter sort of how many streams I do, I think there's almost always somebody from Scotland that's watching. And I love that. And I hope in some stage to be able to get to bowl on some of those Scottish and English greens would be great fun.
And always pleasantly surprised to see the Australian and New Zealand contingent in our numbers as well. Yeah, chance to see what the Bulls are like in the Great White North.
And the advantage there is that at least they might understand my accent.
So McNorton holding two in front of the Jack at the moment. Was uncharacteristically long on his first two bowls.
Yeah, this one looks like it's going to find a nice home too.
And phew, that Jack is completely covered at the moment.
Yeah, I think Alan just wants to get a shot in there to try and cut this down, and then maybe in his last shot he could try getting a little more aggressive. He's got the back, but he needs something in the head first. It's too big of a risk otherwise.
Allen does have a very strong power game as well if he wanted to move things around. Or in this case, just barge his way through. Excuse me.
There was only just room for one ball to get through there, and he managed to find that gap. And so now, he's only one down, so that temptation to play the more upweight sort of shot is maybe less. But if he did manage to get on top of that shot bowl of Mike's, he could push the jack back to his waiting bowls at the back. Mike would just be looking at getting something in behind the head there just to defend that possibility. Across in the other men's semi-final, it is uh, they were just in the fifth end, and Pat's obviously picked up another large count on that end because that first set is over. Pat has won the first set. Michael O'Connor, as we saw yesterday, he's a very determined bowler, and he was brilliant yesterday. So I think he just needs to reset himself and uh, try and sort of dominate in that second set as Pat did in the first.
Oh, McNorton's final bowl settling in front of the head. Don't think that's what he was trying to execute there.
No, he probably wanted that to be a yard deeper and just in behind. Um, Really, the option for Allen is he can't play with a lot of weight because it's going to come too narrow. So he probably wants to just try and get a gentle touch on that shot bowl, just a heavy draw. and that could do sort of the job, but it's a little hard to get in there. It's certainly well covered.
Certainly a challenging shot. Final ball of the fifth end. And this is just going to drift to the back. So Mike McNorton will carry another end and narrow this lead once more.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a cliche in bowls, but I mean, the best way to come back in a match is just to win ends. And, if you're picking up multiples, that's good. But if you'll take a single, like he's only one shot behind now after being six down. And so that momentum, it weighs on the other player. Alan's now looking at three ends in a row that he hasn't managed to get a shot. Um, and so two ends to go, and it's all on the line.
Oh, entertaining so far, quite strategic as well. We're looking forward to seeing how the rest of this match develops as only 1 point separates them and they've got two ends to sort out the first set.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing from Mike is that that experience and that maturity that he's evolved in his game. Um, he never looked bothered when he was six nil down. Just play the next end, keep on going, and that's the attitude you've got to take. Good start there from Mike. He'll be happy with that. In the women's matches, Lindring is leading 7-2 after five ends. And Jane Robertson is 3-2 up after five ends as well. Alan's first ball it's okay. It's in a reasonable spot. Plenty of room still for Mike to draw into this head. He's got a good line here.
Yeah, very consistent. That's just going to up against the jack. Yeah, Kim Sawyer's reaching for her chalk now, so it's a toucher. And it's in direct contact with the jack.
Yeah, so let's see if Alan's gonna and what he's gonna play on this. So sometimes playing Alan, he will just go with weight for this, but this he's looking more like he's just drawing here.
Yep, nothing fancy. And oh, just needed a little more green on that.
Yeah, so it's exactly the way he wanted, but though those sort of up weight shots you have to be very, very precise to make those work here. Mike will just be looking at getting something in on the other side there, bit of coverage. Had something in behind, hopefully still in the count, but giving you a bit of coverage as well. It's
That's,
beautiful.
that's a beautiful and very mature shot.
So he hasn't made the target that much bigger, but he's made his position better. But I think Alan is probably just going to have to go for it.
Yeah, he's McNorton's put Allen under a bit of pressure here with the lead and the balance.
Yeah, so it looks like he's winding up a bit here. Not going to be full weight, but it's going to be plenty enough weight.
Is it on track? Oh, just misses. And both bowlers going to have a look at the head before their final shots here.
Yeah, I can just hear every coach and every skip I've ever had just telling me just draw one to the tee after when a player's having to go like that. Um, you really want to sort of take the tee, and then even if a jack goes out, you've still got a shot.
That being said, I mean, those three bowls are certainly a huge target for someone like Alan Ross. It's having something in the back's important, but maybe something in the front to guard. I don't know.
Yeah, there's two kinds of bowlers, those who try and put in blockers and those who try and go to the tee. I'm definitely in the go to the tee. Um, well, just because it's really hard to get a good, accurate blocker in.
And he decides to go to the tee.
Yep, looks like he definitely has the tee and he has the back. There's still a lot of benefit here for Alan to come in and hit this. Even if he cuts this down to two, it would mean he's only one behind. Just needs to win the end to tie the set on the final end. Um, and yeah, the good thing for Mike is that the two shots, shots one and two, are only a bowl and a half wide, so it's not a huge target.
So this big shot in the set for Alan Ross. He's holding on to a 1 point lead. And here comes the heat.
I think it's narrow.
And misses once again, and that's going to be costly. So looking probably at three here.
Definitely, yeah, three
Yeah.
for sure.
And slowly but surely, Mike McNorton has turned the tide here in this first end, up 8-6 going into the seventh end.
Yeah, so from 6-0 down to 8-6 up. Again, this is a single end. Alan just has to forget what's happened in the last four ends and just try and pick up a two and split the set. Across in the other men's semi-final, Michael O'Connor has done exactly what I suggested he might do. He's gone out to a nice lead after two ends. He's leading 4-0. In the women's semi-finals, Lindering has taken the first set against Gillian McMurtry, just in the first end of the second set.
And just on McNorton's opening shot, showing that he's got the line.
Yeah, he's just been superb these last four or five ends. In the Alberta semi-final, Joanna has just gone to a 4-3 lead. against Jan. They're in their final end now of the first set.
And we were in the final end of this set. Two sets of 7 ends each. And McNorton with the advantage at the moment.
Yeah, that's a really smart tactical bowl from Mike there. Alan with the deep bowl on his first one, and Mike making sure all he needs to do is just keep on matching Alan's bowls to try and stop him picking up that two he needs to split the set.
And that's unlucky for Allen. That was shaping up to be one of his best shots of the match.
Yeah, I think the good thing about that bowl is it's waiting there for him to move that jack with his next bowl. And so Mike will be looking to just come in and just sit on top of that last bowl of Allen's.
Certainly what he tried to do there. And slightly too much green.
Yep, so Allen will just look and try and do essentially the same as he did last bowl, just take the jack this time. Yeah, just overplayed it a little bit. Mike has the back bowls well covered. He doesn't want to make the target any larger, but I think what he was trying to do that last bowl, just sort of come in along the backhand there and just try and sit something on top of that second shot of Allen's will make it a lot harder for Allen to manufacture two shots.
Yeah, from Alan Wass's perspective, I mean, a two is still a possibility here, but the odds of being able to pick up a third to win the set are pretty remote at this point.
Yeah, and I think given the way the set's gone, if he can come back and uh, split the set, I think that's a win.
And Mike McNorton's final shot of the first set.
Yep, he's in the range, just a touch wide there. It's still a good spot.
Yeah, he's actually created some problems for Allen here. Is that area just behind the jack is fraught with danger. But for Allen, the ticket is simple here, though. He needs a two.
Yep, he can either try and gently move that jack, or he can try and just sit on the shot bowl and stay, and that will be the two he needs. But it's one thing saying that; it's another thing making that shot. It's a very precise shot. It's Allen's kind of shot, though. This is the shots that he loves to play. But he's just been a little out in these last five ends.
And it's again long and offline.
Yeah, he had the right weight for it, but it is very hard to get those very precise bowls on the right line. So first set uh, goes to Mike.
Mike McNorton will indeed take the first set of this semifinal with a impressive 9-6 comeback win. And on top of it is carrying pretty significant momentum heading into the second set. And I think you pointed it out as well, Shane. This has not been a flashy performance. There's not been a lot of huge shots so far in this match. It's just relentless consistency.
Yeah, and that is, you know, you can play the glamour shots and you can have the big shots and they look great, but someone who's just consistent and really smart in how they bowl. Mike's sort of been making all the right moves, not just in terms of drawing shots, but also putting bowls in the right place and putting the pressure on Alan.
Was chatting briefly with Mike prior to the match today, and you know, telling us a bit about the lawn bowling club he plays at in Kitchener. It only has two greens. It's natural grass, but the greens are immaculate, and says that it's the home of many excellent players in the Kitchener, Ontario area. So once again, it just always goes to show it's not the size of the club that matters. It's how well the greens are kept and how well you support the bowlers.
Yeah, I think the best clubs are clubs that, have systems that ensure that people have support. When somebody comes in new, that you lead them, if they're looking to be competitive, that you lead them into the competition and the experienced players, provide support for them. I think that's always a sign of a great club.
And I should also note that besides being a member of PIBC, Alan Wass is a member of the Dunbar Lawn Bowling Club here in Vancouver. And once again, not a large club, but very well run one.
And in the women's matches, Joanna has taken the first set against Jan. They're just starting um, their second set now. They're just on the last bowl of the second end with Gillian and Linda's leading 2-0 after one. Uh, Michael O'Connor has come back in grand fashion in the other men's semi-final. He is now 6-0 up after three ends. And anyone who saw his match last night against Jim DeHoki will know this is a very talented bowler.
Alan Wass spoke to me about him before this match as well, and that Alan had played Michael O'Connor during the group stage of this, and he just said that he is a finesse bowler. For a big guy, he has a finesse bowler and also just keeps coming at you and coming at you. He also said he's glad he's not playing him in the semifinal.
But I don't think there's anyone in this group that I'd be looking forward to playing. So yeah, I don't think there's a soft option amongst these four players.
Not at all. But as they say, to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter when you're playing someone. It's like if you want to win, you've got to beat them when you play them. Which is looking pretty good from Alan. Will it stop?
Yeah,
Yep.
and that's a shot that Alan needed right now. Try to regain a little bit of that confidence and momentum that he had right at the start of this match.
It's a little Mike looking at the head there had a little wry smile when he looked at it, and yeah, I think what we saw from Mike when he first played here at PIBC was a player with a lot of raw talent, and he's obviously worked really hard because he's now become a very complete player. The talent is still there, but it's modulated by a really solid, thoughtful approach to the game.
Takes a moment to reset himself.
Yeah, he's not looking happy with that one. It's yeah, ended up just in behind.
Alan Ross with the advantage, heading in with his last bowl of this first end of the second set.
So yeah, I'm not sure if it's one or two to Alan at this stage. He's definitely got the shot bowl, but it's very close between Mike's best and Alan's second best. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm having a look myself here from our broadcast position, and it is too close to call from our position.
So Alan will just be looking at getting another one in the head here. Just bring one in, get a guaranteed two, and then we'll see in the measure. The applause you heard there was for Joanna Cooper. She's put in a beautiful bowl. She's holding a couple of shots on the first end of the second set. Linda Ring is out to a 5-0 lead after two ends in her semi-final against Gillian McMurtry.
And final shot goes long, and we will sort out whether this is one for Alan Ross or two to open up the second set. So they've called in the umpire to determine this. Indicates just how close we thought it was.
And of course, not just any umpire, the umpire, the man, the legend.
No fancy tools pulled out yet for this one, though. Just a straight standard measure the players use.
Yeah, no laser measures here at this stage.
So it's interesting they are looking at more than just one bowl here. Or I mean one bowl from each player.
Okay, so two there for Alan from the look of it.
Well,
In the other mid semi-final, the one bowl each to go in the fifth end, and there are three bowls within the foot of the jack at the moment. It's very tight. Pat Bird's been standing in the middle of the green, staring at that head like it's a long lost friend.
and should note that they did award two to Alan Wass for that opening end. So he jumps off to a 2-0 lead here in the second set.
Yeah, and Alan will just be looking at just getting back to his, that efficient draw game that he's got, and just forgetting that first set and just working hard on sort of building himself into the second set.
and a toucher that moves the jack aside right off the start. So everyone's line gets adjusted now.
Yeah, I think this is always fun when the jack's moved. It's a, it's a significant enough amount out there that it almost takes away uh, coming down that one side. Um, it's probably going to be forehand all the way here rather than the backhand.
Yeah, because for the right-handed players, the backhand side, as you can see, has that side ditch. Now, of course, these players have bowls that are narrow enough that it rarely becomes an issue, but you move that jack over to the boundaries, and you're right, you're taking maybe a few more risks if you go that way.
Yeah, I might have found that ditch a few times in my past, especially when I started out bowling here with my Henselite Classics.
No.
Uh, those ones, if you're on the middle green, you could get halfway out into the green on the other side and come back onto the jack. Yeah,
Yeah, I know that feeling. I started playing here with arrow grooves, and those were quite wide for this.
yeah. Sometimes the bowls that work outdoors don't necessarily work indoors, and so you tend to see less of a variety of bowls here indoors. Lots of Dreamlines if you're a Henselite player, Defiance if you're an Aero player. The Taylor Aces are those are pretty rock steady indoors and outdoors.
And those Taylor races are what Mike McNorton is rolling this morning.
So Michael O'Connor is continuing on um, with his fine bowling in the second set of the other men's semi-final. He is leading 7-1 against Pat Bird. And anyone who's ever seen Pat Bird bowl knows that you have to do a lot of work to get a 7-1 lead against Pat.
Michael O'Connor looking to force force extra ends in that match.
Oh, it's a
But
very good bowl.
Alan Ross looking to do the same in this match, and that puts him in a very good position.
I'm just not going to be surprised if Mike manages to play a similar bowl and sit on top of Alan's bowl. Like he's in that kind of form. Yeah, so judging from Alan's questions there, just about the second shot, I think he's just looking to um, sort of draw on top of that bowl of Mike's. Could possibly create a multiple here for him.
A little bit of weight on this. Oh, and this is look shaping up. Oh, just bends on.
Yeah, I think this is fairly typical of Alan's approach to bowls. He's really fearless in bowls that he throws, and so that one was like sort of felt a little heavy at the beginning, but then just as it cut across, it took the speed off. I'm not sure if it's good enough for second. It's hard to tell there.
Yeah, I'm going to get us a closer shot of that head just to see if we might be able to tell on our high-tech digital zoom. So this will be quite a pixelated picture, but I think it'll give you a better idea of where things stand at the moment. And I think that right now, Might favor Alan Wass's bowl as the second.
Yeah, I was thinking the same. Yeah, yeah, but that Zoom really just gives you a different perspective, doesn't it?
So we don't go to that camera too often because it is quite grainy, but it certainly comes in handy in instances like this.
So Mike's coming down that backhand, and as we said, he had to go out really wide, but he's done it beautifully. This is going to be close.
And has he done it?
One, maybe. Yeah, it's doing the trusty finger measure, which is at best only ever 50% accurate, but it looks like it was.
They did it, and it's Mike McNorton taking the point that from Allen on that final bowl, and it's obviously close enough that they could eye it.
Yeah, yeah. Alan's a has a very good eye for that kind of thing. If I'm remembering correctly, I think he was. I think his profession was engineer, so I think he has that precise eye.
And that puts Mike McNorton on the board here in this second set after two ends. 2-1 for Alan Watts.
And so in the other men's semi-final, it's all over in the second set. Michael's taken it, so they are now going to tiebreaker. Just about dropped the jack. It's in an okay spot. Helen, as he usually does, gets it out nice and wide and then tries to bring it back in, but it's just a little deep. In the women's semi-finals, I think both of them. So look, Linda is leading 8-0 after four ends against Gillian, and after two ends, in Joanna and Jan's match, Joanna is up 4-0.
Both Linda Ing and Joanna Cooper won their first sets as well. So uh, both in a very good position right now to punch their ticket to the final.
I'm sure if it was me, I could find a way to lose from either of those positions. It's sort of my specialist sort of skill, superpower, if you like.
Alan, once again, high information bowler. Just wanted to make very clear that what was holding was between the front bowl and the back bowl, and not the blue bowl off to the side.
Yeah, he's definitely someone who just needs to know all that information because it impacts how he bowls. And he always makes sure he gets the info, and he's drawn a nice shot here.
And that is indeed shot.
Nice ball from Mike. I think that is.
Yeah.
definitely made it just a single shot.
Hmm.
We have our first finalist in the women's semi-finals. They've shaken hands, and Linda Ng will be one of our finalists. We'll be seeing that match later this morning. And at the moment, Joanna Cooper's in a very strong position to be the other finalist, and that will be a heck of a final if that is it.
Either way, we are guaranteed a BC versus Alberta battle in the final.
Yeah, there's no rivalry between those two provinces. So I'm sure yeah.
Not at all. Alan Moss coming in, and he's coming in hard on the jack here. He's going to nudge it, and it stays there.
If you wanted a sort of summary of Alan's approach to bowls, that is it right there. He brought it in with that little bit of weight, but the thing is that like he does it so often and he gets the result out of it. It's 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 brave, but it's tempered by the fact that he has the skill to make that happen. So the temptation here for Mike is to just sort of come in and just try and sit on that front bowl, possibly move the jack back to his waiting blue bowl here, but it's not an easy shot, but it's there.
Yeah, and it's a shot where Alan has put Mike McNorton under a bit of pressure here because, of course, Alan carries the last shot of this end. And we're at that stage of the match. You don't want your opponent breaking away from those ones from those 1 point deficits.
Yeah, you want to keep within that sort of that 1 point for sure. Mike's given it a good go here. He's played it with good weight.
Oh, just misses. And this is a huge opportunity for Alan here.
It's the old saying. We've said it many times before, but bowls were made for holes. If there's a gap there, they will find it. That one didn't touch anything on its way to the ditch.
No, Alan is secure in knowing that if he does nothing here, he can grab two. But you know, Alan, he likes to live a bit on the edge.
Yeah, and depending on what the situation is with his green bowl at the back there, I'm not sure whether that's um, outdrawing the one on the on our screens on the left hand side. Um, if it is, he might be tempted just to try and sit on the other bowl of Mike's that's beside his and just nudge that back and create a four. Alan's the type of guy who will think about that.
Mm.
But I think really in this scenario, just try and draw another one in, keep it simple.
Final shot of the third end. And well, the two for sure. So they're gonna eyeball it to begin with.
It's very close between those. Yeah.
Yep. And they don't hesitate. They bring out the umpire for this. Um, for Allen, getting a result out of this would be huge. He's already got the two.
So a bonus here for our viewers. You get to see George not once but twice in the same stream. He's stalking around those bowls, getting them chalked up to make sure they don't move.
And there's There are a lot of knowledgeable and experienced bowls people in the lower mainland of BC, but you would be very hard to find anyone who could match George's knowledge of the game.
Yeah, and I think there's a big George Cubis fan club out there, so I think they'll all be excited to see George doing his thing. And he's a fine umpire, but he's also a very fine player. If you've ever played against George, you know you're in the game. He has a little habit of writing little messages to you if you put a good bowl in, and it has to be chalked. He'll put either a smiley face or a frowny face on it, depending on if you're playing with him or against him. I once had him write "Go home" on a toucher that I'd delivered against him. I told him I would if he just defaulted. Said no, thank you. So in the other men's semi-final, Michael has really put the pressure on to Pat now. He's leading. He picked up the first end of the tiebreaker by playing the second end at the moment, and looking like Pat might be holding shot, but it's very close.
Yeah, not a lot left between the bowlers here, and it remain in these semifinal rounds. Meanwhile, in the other women's semifinal, Joanna Cooper has opened up a 7-0 lead in the fourth end of the second set against Jan Robinson. Cooper won the first set of that match. And we're just waiting to get the result here on the scoreboard as to what just transpired from that measure, George Cubas.
And, Kim was just holding back there, just adding a bit of drama to the situation, and
And it's,
it looks like it is 6-1.
yeah, it is 6-1 indeed. So a huge end there for Alan Ross.
And again, though, Mike, he was in a worse position in the first set, and he just went into sort of chill guy mode and just kept on winning ends and kept on adding up, and took that first set easily in the end. So he'll just look back to that and just say, just do what you do, keep on playing.
And Alan Ross with a toucher to open up the fourth end.
Yeah, just a lot of credit to Alan here for just picking himself up off the canvas after that first set. And Alan isn't the kind of guy who gets worried about stuff. And, Mike certainly has that same aura as well. And, that's a good thing. That's how you become a top bowler is you just keep on playing. You don't worry about what's happened.
Yeah. And if you're a PIBC member here, you are very familiar with the sight of coming in either early in the afternoon or early in the evening and seeing Alan on the greens practicing with such discipline, us over and over and over again. And as we mentioned in our last broadcast, Alan is such a student of the game and also very supportive of other bowlers.
Oh, yeah, Alan is sort of like um, the type of guy that when you're playing him, if you put a good bowl in, he's genuinely happy for you because one, he's a nice guy, but two, it's a challenge for him. And so, like, he never, I've never seen him negative on the
Mhm.
greens. Yeah, I played Alan at outdoor provincials this year, and we were sort of laughing because the number of practice ends I'd got in um, across the previous month was around about what he'd done the previous day.
Yeah. I wanted to mention yesterday that the round robin match the group stage match that we had between Alan Moss and Pat Bird could also be called the Nice Guy Bowl, as you had two of the best gentlemen of the game that I've had the pleasure of meeting.
Yeah, I think you get a lot of the really good bowlers are really generous, um, sort of people when you play them. And I've had lots of bowlers that I've heard stories about, and then when you play them, they're just absolute gentlemen. And it's out on the greens. It's a Yeah, I think it's a lovely thing when you've got someone who, maybe even if they're better than you, is supportive of you.
So Alan is holding one here in the fourth end of the second set. Like getting permission to take a walk to look down at this head, you know, looking to maybe get back on track. Mike Mike would certainly like to avoid a tiebreaker in this one.
And of course, from our selfish position, like we'd love to see a tiebreaker. It's good, exciting sort of stuff. Joanne is really dominating in the remaining women's semi-final. She is now 9-0 up, and they're playing the fifth end. So
Either way, what a final we will have on the women's side coming through. Linda Ng taking on, at the moment, appears to be Joanna Cooper, but Jan Robinson was there. That would be, either way, it's a heavyweight battle.
yeah, Jane's was superb yesterday, and she's a very tenacious bowler. So I don't think there's any give up in her, so she'll just be trying to get herself back in this match. She's still got enough ends to make up for deficit, but it's a lot of work. It is 1-1 in the upper men's semi-final, and the final end of a tiebreaker.
McNorton coming in with some weight here.
Looks
Looking
good.
to take the jack. It's online. He does the job. Does the job and leaves the jack untouched. Nice shot.
Yeah, that was pretty much perfect. Like there was uh, not much else he could have done to make that any better. He's definitely got the smile on the face. Very happy with that result.
And with situations like this that set the stage for McNorton's comeback in the first set.
Yeah, so it's got to be a little bit in the back of your mind if you're Alan. But having said that, this is that type of shot that Alan's been playing really well. Just sort of coming in off a shot bowl and trying to get onto the jack.
Coming in on that backhand side.
It's going to be all in the weight here because the line's pretty good.
Yeah, just needed a little more juice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll be too disappointed with that because you really just wanted to get something in back in the head, and if you can cut it down to one, sometimes you just got to be pragmatic in this game. Yeah.
See what McNorton has planned here. It's there's lots of room to draw in there for what at the moment would appear to be a second. He would certainly like to make up as much territory as possible here.
Yeah, so just the decision of whether you just draw or whether he tries to do something to move Allen's bowl out of the way. I think, for me, it's just keep it simple and go for the draw.
It's looking on track. And will it hold up? I think a bit too much weight in the end, but still a positive result for Michael here in the fourth end.
Yeah, he gave it a good try there. And they are down to the last couple of bowls in the other men's semi-final.
And it appears that Pat Bird may have won the second end of that tiebreaker.
Yep, yep. This is Michael's coming up for the last bowl now, and it looks like it might be. So, not sure if they. Yeah, I think they might be at handshaking time here in the other women's semi-final. And I think it might be Pat Bird. They're shaking hands.
Yeah, there's lots happening on the other rinks at the moment. And indeed, Joanna Cooper has booked her ticket to the women's final against Linda Ing. And
Yeah, and if I was a betting man, which I very much am, that would have been the women's final that I would have had as the two favourites to make the final. So I think that's going to be a great match.
and the only reason that we can't really tell as of yet who came out on top in that men's semifinal is mostly because both Pat Bird and Michael O'Connor have very similar colored bowls, so we don't know who finished off that
I,
that last end.
I'm assuming it was Pat just by the reactions, because Michael came in with a weighted shot at the end and just missed. So I think it must have been Pat that was holding, but I don't want to. But it's not a hill I want to die on. But Pat is looking happy, but Pat often looks happy.
Exactly. So we'll try and get some 100% confirmation on that for you. Meanwhile, in our match here, we are in the fifth end. And Alan Wass looking to force a tiebreaker here, up 6-2 on Mike McNorton.
And this is just a beautiful bowl from Alan. Beautiful. Yeah, so if we do have an Alberta player both in the men's and women's final, then it's an opportunity for Alberta to continue their dominance that they showed at Nationals this year. They were on fire.
Also, great performances at the Pacific Coast Open here in Vancouver just a few weeks ago as well. Joanna Cooper was the Open singles champion in that one, taking home some substantial prize money.
Yeah, if it keeps going this way, we're going to have to shut down the border and start sort of telling the Alberta folk that no, stop coming here and winning everything.
That would be no fun.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. I have a son in Calgary, so I like to visit him. It's another good bowl from Alan.
Yeah.
Really good position.
Yeah, Alan has put himself in a good spot here. Really limiting Mike, because Mike's at the stage where he does need multiples, not just to win ends, and leaving him really with limited choices here.
Yes, I think there's a risk to reward sort of scenario here for Mike. So, yeah, he does have the back. Like he has all of the back. So he's got the option of just playing conservatively, picking up the shot, winning the end, which would be more in keeping with how he's played, throughout this match. But there is the option there to try and sort of play onto the jack and send it back to the tee.
And Alan has final bowl as well, so there's an opportunity for Alan to adjust to anything that happens here.
Yep. And Mike, just sticking to that cool, calm, collected approach that he's had, no surprises there, and he's given this one a chance.
Uh, he, yeah, he sensed something was off on that shot after his delivery. You could see a little bit of frustration there, but not that anyone gets flustered at this level, but he was expecting more from that shot.
Yeah, I think yeah, I mean, I think there's degrees of, reaction, and I think, if you're playing at this level, um, that reaction is usually, quite muted. Um, you know, if you're playing at a lower level, you will see a much greater range of reaction to good things and bad things happening.
So from an Alan Loss perspective, he is holding at least two, maybe more.
Yeah, and so this is the chance if he gets this one in the head, that's a three or a four. It's a big, big deal.
And that's going to be enough by the looks of it.
I'm judging from Mike's hand gesture there. I think that was very possibly a full house.
If that was a full house, then that will make the next two wins, or well, at least the next end, very important because Mike would need two perfect ends to get the tie. Yeah. So, did you win? And we're happy to report we can confirm Pat Bird was the winner of that tiebreaker against Michael O'Connor and has booked his ticket to the final.
Yeah, can I just say that I am not going to be surprised if we see Michael O'Connor coming back and going all the way in the future because the way he's bowled at this tournament's been superb. So, sort of big props to Michael for the way he's played.
Yeah, he was a treat to watch. And quite a short jack here to start off the sixth end.
Yeah, and gives it just a little touch there, a little kiss, but then it ran away. So it's in an okay position, but it could have been better. Yeah, so Alan just needs to do what Mike was doing in the final end of the previous set. Just keep on matching his opponent's bowls and just make that really hard to get that maximum.
I should mention I had a really good source on who won that tiebreaker because Pat Bird just wandered past our broadcast position and he told me.
We hope it's accurate then, Yeah, I did notice Joanna and Linda having a, a a little bit of a joke between each other, and Linda gave her a big hug, and that will be the end of the niceness. They'll be battling it out in the final in an hour or so.
And in this one, we are almost certainly headed to a tiebreaker between Mike McNaughton and Alan Ross. Uh, McNaughton would need a perfect end here in order to force the seventh end of this second set.
Yeah, Alan's been doing a really good job of just matching. where Mike's bowls are going, and that bowl he put at the back is now playing a big part in this because Alan's holding that second shot, and that's all he needs. He still needs to get a second bowl in that head because that bowl is open for Mike to attack, and so he needs to get that second shot in there, defend Mike picking up a four. Yeah, so if you look at that head, Alan doesn't want to get too close to his current second shot. He just wants to get in between those two blue balls in front of a jack and just cut down the possibility of Mike playing weight onto his bowl and creating a four. Let's see what Alan can do.
And that'll be enough.
Yep, so at this stage, Mike needs to play a bit of a trick bowl and come with enough weight to knock Alan's bowl in front there back onto Alan's other bowl, then stay and have those two bowls go far enough back that he picks up the four. Um, if he does that, I'll also be sort of watching for him to walk on water, part the oceans, do
Yeah.
other things like that.
Are you saying it's a hard shot?
I'm saying it's reasonably hard. Yeah, I mean I could make it, but
He's going to take a shot at this. And through the hole, and we are off to extra ends. So McNorton will take a point from this, and it's been quite a game of comebacks here as McNorton came down from 6-0 in the first set to take that one from Alan Wass, but Alan Wass has found his form. And, you can honestly say was for a match that turned out to be 10-3, it was the dominance was quiet here.
yeah, and I think like I think um, that might be the title of Alan's autobiography. The dominance was quiet, because he does sort of like uh, manage to sort of gently, get a lead and just keep on going and keep on going. That's his sort of mode of operation. So both of the bowlers are taking a quick break before they head back into the tiebreaker. So both of the men's semi-finals went to tiebreakers, and both of the women's semi-finals were straight set victories. So a bit of a contrast there. Um, we can definitely start looking forward to this women's final coming up. Linda against Joanna is just like sort of a dream final. Two fine sort of lawn bowlers, both indoor and outdoor. That one's going to be a hell of a match. But equally, whoever gets through here, whether it's Mike taking on Pat or Alan taking on Pat, it's going to be a great match.
Yeah, and we will have that women's final coming up for you. It's scheduled for roughly 11 o'clock a.m. Don't know if this tiebreaker may delay that or not, but that is when we are scheduled. And then we will have a men's final against between Pat Bird and the winner of this tiebreaker uh, coming up at about 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So More bowls coming your way at roughly 2 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Eastern here on the Bowls Canada YouTube channel.
Yeah, so I think this is going to be interesting in terms of tactics here in the tiebreaker. I think Alan dominated that second set, but that's done. This is a whole new scenario.
It is a best of three tiebreaker. So the score themselves, the scores themselves don't really matter. It's just a case of whoever's the first to win two ends will punch their ticket into the final.
Yeah, and again, with tiebreakers, there's multiple ways to do tiebreakers. I, but I don't have a strong opinion on shots counting or ends counting. I think there's something nice about you win an end. Doesn't matter how many shots in a tiebreaker. I think that uh, gives a little bit of a different approach from when you're playing the set play. So yeah, I think I like this.
And Alan Moss will get us underway as he throws the jab.
Yeah, but what you will see is it does change how you play an end. Uh, if you get something on the jack early, then you start getting tactical and defensive.
And it's interesting that Alan has elected to go short on his jack, and that's something that he did in the final end of the second set, and really has not been a factor throughout the match so far.
Yeah, and I think short is really good for Alan because he's so precise. I think he got the faintest of touches there, so it's in a good spot. It's a nice toucher. Still plenty of room here for Mike to draw. Yeah, with the position of that shot, it's pretty much bringing the both players sort of down onto this other side now. Yeah. I think we'll be seeing four hands all the way here. This line is very good. It's all in the weight. Just about took it, but two useful bowls, but there's still plenty of room to draw. Yeah, Mike's got a good line here.
This might do something. Beautiful.
And that is shot drawn.
That is shot and a toucher to boot.
Yeah, I mean, drawing shot is one thing, but having it as a toucher as well, that's just showing off. Yeah, so Evans, he's thinking about it here. I'm not sure if he's going to try and play a little bit of weight onto that short bowl. Come in the other hand now, come in the backhand. Just trying to come underneath that front bowl of Mike's. Just talking to it.
Oh,
On the screen, it looks close, but from our viewpoint here, it's looking like it's still that bowl of Mike's.
Yeah, I would favor Mike McNorton's bowl at this point. This one pulls up short.
Yeah, so the problem for Alan here is that Mike has the last bowl. So if he wanted to be aggressive, um, there's a lot of risk in that. He was very close with that last bowl, but it's very hard to come that hand now with that second bowl there. I think he's going to have to go back to the forehand, and Mike drew that shot forehand. There's no reason he can't get in there and outdraw that shot. And this is a classic Allen move that he's already been in the head, and now he's asking questions of the marker, despite the fact that he was just down there.
At the same time, you can always see the wheels going on in Alan's brain, and in that walk back, it's almost certainly something he did not think of when he was down there.
Yeah, I think once you get back to the mat, that head always looks different than it does when you're down there looking at it. Coming down that forehand side now, just trying to outdraw that shot ball of Mike's. It's all in the way here. The line's good. I'm not sure if it's.
The weight, but the line is far,
Yeah, just keep going.
and Mike McNorton's just going to declare and take the first of these extra ends.
So, advantage Ontario. If this match follows its path that it has so far, we'll probably expect Allen to come back and to push it to a third end. But it's definitely advantage to Mike. He gets to determine the length here, and he gets the first chance to get that shot bowl in.
So twice now, McNorton has been able to take advantage of that shorter length that Alan Wass put down with the jack, and see, we'll see if Mike wants to continue that here. This will be more of a mid jack.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that no matter what length you go to, both of these guys are going to be, very good at eating length. So as much as you're trying to give yourself an advantage there, I think it doesn't make a lot of difference when you're playing, players of this quality.
And a strong opener.
Yep, it's a good start, but plenty of room for both players to get more bowls in that head. Just a touch heavy there from Alan. His line's perfect.
Second bowl for McNorton. And just lays in front of his behind his first ball.
Yeah, I wish these guys would work on their line and try and get their line a bit better there. Like if there's one of those bowls that's like a couple of millimeters out from being on perfect line. This is close.
This is looking good from Alan Watts. No, it didn't lay in there. And now I'd say there may be a little bit of debate there as to who's a holding shot, but you knew what he was doing.
Yeah, but it's I think unfortunately for Alan, I think it's kissed that shot bowl and then just went a little too far away, and I'm sort of still got my money on Mike as having the shot there. And this is looking good again. This is
And
this is the
Norton
shot.
leaves no doubt now. Yeah, it's only Alan's third shot, so he does need to request permission to walk up and see the head. And certainly a reasonable situation where a marker would say, of course, say yes.
Yeah, this is why they don't have me marking. I'd be like, nah, go back, check. Yeah, and I think in these kinds of situations, I think uh, it's a good thing to go down and visit the head and see what it's actually looking like. It gives you that different perspective. You know, Alan just needs to sort of play something pretty similar to his last bowl. He had a reasonably good line on that. Either draw the shot or just move the jack a little.
Now, this one, does it have enough behind it? Oh, just short.
It makes his final shot a lot harder. Yeah, I think probably the one thing you never want to do in this scenario is leave it short. I guess the option for him, depending on what Mike does, might be to progress that bowl into the jack. Um, but Mike will be looking to just try and get something in behind the jack to make that less beneficial.
And Mike McNorton taking a good long look at that line just before heading back to the mat here. Alan Wass will need, regardless what happens here, Alan Wass will need a heck of a final shot to force that final extra end.
Yeah, and I think yeah, Mike will be considering a lot of possibilities. He can try and get something in behind the jack there, or if he's thinking Alan's just going to play full on weight, he might try and cover for tee.
Coming down the backhand side, like he was really just trying to neutralize that green ball there and maybe just went beyond.
Yes, I mean, one of the options for Alan would have been to play onto Mike's shot bowl there and just send the jack out of bounds. Um, that one's out of play now because Mike, who holds the tee. So it's a very effective bowl from Mike. Uh, I think now for me, if I was Alan, I'd be looking at um, trying to play onto one of those two front bowls to try and push that jack back a little bit, not with full weight, but just with a little bit of up weight on it.
Final bowl for Alan Wass with the match on the line. He must score here.
Just too
Wow.
wide.
Slide clears through, and it will be Mike McNorton shaking hands with Alan Wass in what's been a great match. And it will be Mike McNorton facing Pat Bird in the men's final this afternoon at the Canadian Indoor Qualifiers. Just excellent way to start our morning here at PIBC as we now gear up for championship finals all the way around. We will have the women for you coming up in roughly 30 minutes from now, where we will have Battle of BC versus Alberta. Linda Ing up against Joanna Cooper in what should be a very, very entertaining final coming your way. And we are going to sign off for now. You will need to sign off of this YouTube broadcast, and we will set a new one up for the women's final coming up momentarily. So I hope that you will join us for that. For Shane O'Flaherty, I'm Bill Curry. Thanks for joining us, and hope you will join us for the finals of the Canadian Indoor Qualifiers.